Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another exciting episode of Sizzles. I'm your host, Sarah Sings, with the word of the day. 1 John 2 verse 6 says that he who says he abides in Christ ought himself to walk as Christ walked. Now, how do we walk as Christ walked? The only way is to abide in him. When you abide in Christ and you abide in his love and in his word, it is only then you can walk as Christ did. So I encourage you today, abide in Christ, abide in his love, abide in his word, and live as Christ did. God bless you. Now let's take a word from our sponsors for today.
This segment is brought to you by S&P Consult LLC. Anthea Coker is a musician, TV radio personality, and entrepreneur. Author of the Pitch Singing Manual. She's a British-born Ghanaian who has had the pleasure of living in the best of both worlds of Ghana, her motherland, and the United Kingdom, her place of birth. A student of the London School of Fashion and Fashion Enter, Anthea holds to her credit a professional certification of garment and pattern construction in fashion design, and currently owns a clothing line by name Nain by Anthea Coker, following her passion for creativity during her developing years. In 2018, she officially launched her talk show, Pitch with Anthea Coker, on Sky Channel 589, Fit World TV Landing. Prior to that, she hosted the mid-morning program on Atlantic Radio Ghana and Dominion Radio Landing, as well as being the voice coach for some of our home stars and Stars of the Future Season 3. Anthea Coker has had the privilege of working with some renowned musicians, both home and abroad, and moves around the globe, sharing her wealth of experience and impacting her generation positively.
It's Sizzles with
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm here with an amazing guest and I cannot wait for you to meet her. We just watched her profile, but now we get to know her up close and personal. Welcome to the show, Anthea.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to Sizzles.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for honoring the invitation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we want to get straight into the conversation, but
Okay.
we want to get to know you a little bit more. Who is Anthea?
Oh, that's a relative question, isn't it?
Yes.
Anthea, I'm just, I'm a gospel singer to start off with.
Yes.
And I'm also a mother. I have a clothing line.
Oh, nice.
It's called Nain by Anthea Coker.
Say the name again.
Nain.
Nain.
N-A-I-N.
Okay.
By Anthea Coker. So I'm just basically into ministry.
How did your musical journey begin for you?
With me, when it comes to music, I've always been around music. So we started way back in London.
Mm-hmm.
I started in the church and then went into the secular aspect of music. And so I got born again around the age of about 15.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I used to sing in the school choir and stuff.
Okay.
But I never really took it seriously until I joined church.
Mm.
And then I joined the choir and led the choir and became the choir leader for some time. And that's where I would say the church journey is where I actually found myself musically, properly. So I did that for some time. And then I joined a group in London. It's like an open mic.
Mm-hmm.
So we have different people come in there and just sing. So I happen to be one of the backing vocalists.
Okay.
And so I had the opportunity to back loads of people like Jaru, Lionel Richie, Shaka Khan. And
Nice.
I learned a lot musically from there. So I did that for some time, and then I released a pre-album over there. Because at the time, the owner of the Turn Room was my manager. So she managed me for some time. And I ended up coming back to church. So I found my way. The seed will not allow me.
So how did it come about, finding your way back into the church?
Mm-hmm.
Was that, did you have your own personal encounter? Was it something monumental that happened that caused that transition for you?
it's like I said, it's the seed. The seed was always there. And I always knew that gospel music was my calling. This is what I was supposed to be doing. But I guess I was young. I wanted to explore. I just needed to find other stuff. And I'm grateful because doing secular music really opened me up musically. I met a lot of people. I learned so much, even about discovering my own voice, my range and things like that. So it was an experience for me. But after a while, I just knew that I had to come back. And my mom kept reminding me that this is what you're supposed to do, So I just found my way back to church. And
so how did you get into mainstream gospel? So you got back into church and joined the choir again and started singing in the choir.
And then because of my connections with my bishop, the man through whom I became born again, he, during the time that I was in church, exposed me to so many other churches because he would take me along to all his programs.
Okay.
And I would sing before he preaches.
Ministers, okay.
So I met so many pastors, so many ministers. And I guess that helped me because it was almost like something I was saving for the future. When I decided to come back to gospel music, it was easy because then I knew people that I could connect with who would just give me the platform to do what I had to do. And yeah.
That's awesome. So you kept the relationships going, and so coming back wasn't that difficult.
No, I wouldn't say it was that difficult because I kind of knew people within that industry anyway. So it's just a matter of me allowing myself to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
I know in our conversation earlier, you mentioned that, you are also here in Ghana for quite some time. Have you had any collaborations with on any of your albums? I've only gotten a chance to listen to one or two of your songs, but have you done any collaborations?
Okay, so the recent one I've done is a single, and it's called Minyankopon. I haven't done any collaborations with anybody per se, but I have done some secular stuff in the past. I worked with Ben Bracco. This is a long time ago anyway.
Yeah.
He was doing some stuff and he wanted me to help with the vocals and stuff. So I gave him some vocal training. I'm a vocal coach anyway.
That was going to be my next thing to bring up, to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I gave him some vocal lessons and then I did some backing vocals for him. And alongside that, I have also had the opportunity to work with some of our very own stars here in Ghana, whom I've given vocal lessons to as well. Someone like Becca and Adina.
Okay.
Because I did vocal coaching for Stars of the Future.
Yes.
In season 3.
Yes, I remember you were on that show.
Yeah, so I met a lot of people in that scene. And
so are you still actively doing vocal coaching?
Yes, it was taking a lot of my time because I had to move around and do individual lessons. So I decided to put together a book and a CD that people can just purchase and use at home.
Oh, nice. Well, can you tell the viewers where to find the book and the CD?
Well, at the moment, I'm trying to make it go digital, so you can just go online and download it.
Okay.
So the hard copies are not so much available. It can be. I'm not saying it won't be available. It can be. But in the meantime, we're working on getting it on digital platforms. So once that's ready, I'll let you know. So
what are some of your popular tips that you give to singers? If you can share a few with our viewers for today.
Well, I'd say be yourself, be yourself, because majority of the time, when you think you're making a mistake, the audience doesn't even know that you're making a mistake. So just get on with it. Because when I'm speaking from experience, during my early days, I used to have that problem. So I would rehearse and be so hard on myself. And then when I get on stage and I make one little mistake during my performance, I would beat myself up so hard after that. So it kind of created something in me that even up till today, I hate watching my own videos. I don't watch my own videos. So whenever I go to a place and I minister or something, after that, I just don't watch the videos. Sometimes I do, but I don't watch it as much. Because I used to criticize myself a lot. But then one thing I would say is it's always good to have a vocal coach, a personal one, that you go to. And that's what's helped me all this while, because my personal coach, who was just excellent in training me and everything, and most of the things I learned, and I know today is because of him. And he taught me so many things that, majority of the time, when you're doing something, when you're on stage and you're performing and you think something is going, just carry on. Because, the audience doesn't really know what's going on.
What's actually going on.
You let off your mistakes. They don't know your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gave you something.
That's a good tip right there. That's a good tip right there. So let's talk about, I know you said you have a clothing line. Mm-hmm. So you're a fashion designer.
Yes, I am a fashion designer.
Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Okay.
How did that get started for you? And where do you have clothing out online in stores? Tell us about it.
So the fashion design aspect of me, again, is something that I've always had from young, and my parents discovered that very early. Simply because I liked dressing up. And I would sit down and cut things and try and sew it myself. So my mother used to tell me that, this thing is like you have it. And I remember my father always used to compliment me whenever I was going out. He'd be like, hey, you like your combination, like, you're very good at this. So fashion is something that I touched and left and then went back to it. So I went to school, I learned it. And then I started a brand in London. Back then, it was called Avant-Garde AC. Okay. So I tried that out. And because I'm sort of like a perfectionist, I was just being hard on myself. I wanted to be perfect. So I left that scene for a very, very long time. And then I went back to it because, when something is in you, you just know it's in you. Mm-hmm. And people kept reminding me of that. And I always knew. So I went back to London School of Fashion. And then I also went back to Fashion Enter. It's an institution. And I did some top-up courses in pattern cutting and garment construction. So nice. I have a professional certificate in patterns, making patterns. So I decided to start my brand and I named it Nain, which is Nain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nain. I can tell you a little bit about Nain if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the reason behind the name Nain is, Nain is a biblical name. Mm-hmm. Nain was a place where a widow lost her only child, her only son. And she was on the way to bury the boy, and they met Jesus on the way. Mm-hmm. And Jesus basically came up to them and said that the boy is not dead, he's asleep. So he called the boy to wake up, and the boy immediately sat up. And they gave him food and he came back to life. That's right. Now, Nain itself means beautiful. Mm-hmm. So it's a beautiful city where the boy died. Now, how that relates to my brand is the fact that it was my little baby all this while, but I left it and the dream died for a very, very long time. Yeah. But I know that dream was beautiful because the things I intend to make or the things that I do make are very beautiful. They stand out, mm-hmm. So the fact that it was buried for a long time and it's almost like I found my way back to it and it resurrected again. That story really relates to that journey. So that's the reason why I named my brand.
Yeah, and I believe a lot of people can relate to that because, in different aspects of life, whether in relationships or, your personal growth, there are things that sometimes, due to life circumstances, you just let it go. Yeah. But God always brings it back up mm-hmm. alive in you for you to be able to pick up mm-hmm. and fulfill your purpose. So definitely. That's really awesome, having that, story behind and history behind mm-hmm. your brand name for your clothing line. That's awesome. So, Anthea, I just want to ask you a little bit. Now, there are a lot of people that are watching us, right? And they see a lot of gospel musicians out there doing the work of ministry, going around and blessing lives. But you would agree with me that there are some challenges mm-hmm. that we go through. Definitely. What are some of the challenges of difficulties that you may have encountered in your journey that you can share to hopefully inspire and encourage someone that they can go through it and find themselves on the other side?
At some point, I did give up singing. I gave up singing completely. I even left the church singing.
Why? What?
Oh, it's just, I think it's discovery. It's discovery. When you first become born again, you're on fire, you're very on, you want to know everything and you mm-hmm. go all out. And
audacious, as they say.
I had that stage during my youth, which was around the 15 years and all that. Mm-hmm. And I left that scene because I wanted to discover myself and I went into the circular aspect of music and I did that. And then I came back to church, but I guess I probably wasn't fully I would say, like, I probably wasn't fully grown in terms of spiritual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back to church and my expectations were not really met at the time. So certain things disappointed me and all of that. And
such as if you, what are some of the things expectations that you had that were not met?
I guess you expect, you think that because church is church, everybody's supposed to be perfect,
mm-hmm.
And everything is supposed to be perfect. And then you go in and you find that you're dealing with human beings. So
mm-hmm.
things can't be perfect.
Cannot be perfect.
And so I guess at that time, I didn't have that knowledge, So, and maybe I was also self-righteous because I expected other people to be perfect when probably I wasn't even perfect myself, So I got put off by certain things and I left the scene for a while. But when the seed is there, the seed is there. And I had friends that encouraged me and brought me back on track, So mm-hmm. that's how I ended up coming back to church. So my journey hasn't been smooth all along. I wouldn't say that, everything has been perfect. I've had my ups and my downs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a matter of growth, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
You're supposed to be growing as a child of God. You're not supposed to be drinking milk.
Yes. At some point, you have to start chewing bones.
This is
and
it.
I think we grow through our process.
You have to, because it's through those experiences that you learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's through those experiences that you get to know, where you are even as a child of God and where you should be going. And sometimes it's something that God himself puts you through
yes.
for the next step, the next level of the journey. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you balance it all and make it work? You have your ministry, you have your business, which is your clothing line, you're a mother, and you have other things going on. How do you combine everything and make it work?
It's very, very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. Sometimes I forget myself. Sometimes I forget the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to just, get a book and write down my daily plans and activities. And that has helped me in keeping up. But if I leave it, generally, I'm a very creative person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that kind of person that's always dreaming and always coming up with new things. So I found that what happens to people like me is that sometimes you end up being jack of all trades.
All trades and master of none.
So I decided to narrow down and slow down and just pick one or two
mm-hmm.
that I know is the core thing that I'm supposed to be doing now and just focus on that. And I recently also met an elderly lady who said, yeah, I know this is the kind of person you are because I've known you for a while and I've followed you for a while. You're very creative and you come up with a lot.
Yeah.
Why not sell your ideas? And I was like, whoa.
Mm.
I was like, okay.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, you've got me thinking. I never ever thought that I could sell my idea. Well, I know that you can, but it's just something that
you didn't think never thought you could do.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Who knows?
That's awesome. So, with everything that you shared with us today, you've gone through a lot and sacrificed so much to get to where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Looking back, would you say that it was all worth it?
It was worth it. I needed to because the kind of knowledge that I have now
mm-hmm.
for the journey that's ahead of me, I would never have been able to have gained that if I didn't go through the experiences that, I went through, and this is something that money cannot buy. So I believe that it was necessary that I went through everything. Sometimes I come into contact with a situation that connects me back to something that I went through. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I needed to do that because now I know.
That's right.
So everything works together, for the good of those who
love the Lord.
God. So, yeah.
Awesome.
It was important.
Now, I want to talk about this topic only because I personally feel that there isn't enough conversations about it. Mentorship.
Okay.
Mentorship when it comes to gospel music, when it comes to the ministry and industry and all of those things. Did you have, I know you had your own personal coach and all of those things, but what is your view on mentorship? your personal journey, what kind of mentorship did you receive? And also looking into the future for those who are up and coming behind you, do you have any plans of any sort of mentorship for those that are up and coming?
Okay, I think mentorship is very, very important because you can never know it all. Mm-hmm. Even though you go through your own experiences and have your own experiences and all of that, that teaches you, it's still not enough. You need people that have walked the walk, people that have experienced the things that you are now going through. Mm-hmm. It makes the journey easier, because they've been there, they've done that. So they're able to tell you that, listen, this is the route I took. Why don't you try this way? Mm-hmm. Sometimes some of the things we allow ourselves to go through is unnecessary. It could have been avoided if we had mentors.
If we had mentorship,
people that we could go to and talk to, or people that, we could reach out and explain, get them to explain things to us and all of that.
Yes.
So it's very, very necessary, very, very important and very key to have people that you go to. I'm fortunate to have had my pastors, my bishops and stuff behind me.
Yes.
Whom I can go to and explain things to when I don't understand, and they're able to help me go through some of the things that I go through. So I know trust is also an issue. It's not everybody that
you can trust
to share, some deep things with. Mm-hmm. But as you go along, you will know the ones that you can go to when you need to talk about certain things.
That's right.
So mentorship is very, very important. And you asked me whether I have any plans going forward. Yes, I do.
Yes.
I'm very, very passionate about children, young people. I don't know what it is with me and them, but I have a strong, strong connection for young people. And I have plans to help kids on the street, especially on the street.
On the streets.
I have plans to help them someday and help them discover themselves in terms of creatives, people that want to sing, people that want to act, people that want to, write songs or do something in terms of the creative aspects. I do have plans in starting a charity where, we can house some of these kids and then teach them and groom them to find their path. Because I believe everybody has a destiny. God has a plan for every single person. And the fact that some people are less privileged and find themselves on the streets does not mean that their destiny should end just because they didn't get the opportunities that some people have, So I'm passionate to help children on the streets. And so very soon, I should have a charity.
And that's amazing. It's great that you're passionate about children and helping the less privileged, if we could put it that way. So let's talk a little bit about your creative process when it comes to music. Mm-hmm. Do you write your own songs? And if yes, how does that come about for you? What's your process?
I do write my own songs. And majority of the time, how I've had my songs is I've literally heard them. Mm. So I hear them. I don't sit down and say, I'm going to write this song, and then I end up, so I'll be there and I'll find myself humming a certain tune. And then before I know it, the words will be coming. And then before I know it, I've written a song. So most of the time when I go to the studio, I already know what I'm there to record. Yeah. So as soon as I sit down, I start singing as I play.
Yeah. Now I can relate to that.
So listen and play. And then So awesome. That's how I've always written my songs.
Awesome. Is there anyone in particular that you're looking forward to working with in the future?
In Ghana?
Anywhere.
A lot of them, everyone. I don't know. I love music.
Drop a few names.
I love music, and I love people that are doing great, in the music. So, Joe Metal.
Good.
He's a very great singer. I would love to. Luigi.
Yes, I love Luigi.
I love him too. I'd love to do something with him. I don't know, Ife Grace, Diana Hamilton, whoever, like all of them. I don't have a problem with working with them. So
you're based in the UK. Have you had any personal encounters with Diana Hamilton?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay.
No, I haven't met her or anything like that.
Well, we look forward to that. Hopefully we can get that feature very, very soon. Anthea, thank you so much for coming on Sizzles. We're getting ready to wrap up this segment, but I want to ask you any final words you have for our viewers. There may be somebody that's watching you today that is just, very, very in love with you and your work and everything that you're doing. And they just want to personally, any word that you had for them to encourage them.
Well, I would say that no dream is ever too small. Whatever it is that you feel you're good at or you feel you want to do, stay focused, have a plan. It's very, very, very important to have a plan. Have a plan, stay focused, keep going, keep pushing, just stay on it. Don't waver, because that will have you waste a lot of time along the way. So just stay focused and keep going. One day, that opportunity will come and you will need that preparation. So during the time that you're waiting, just prepare, whatever it is that if you're a musician, you're writing, keep going to the studio, keep doing voice lessons. It's very important. I know a lot of people don't take voice training seriously, but it's very important.
It's very, very important. And I know you said you do personal one-on-one voice training, but I mean, there are so many more people that could benefit from your wealth of knowledge. You've worked with a whole lot of people. Ever thought of starting like a YouTube series on vocal lessons? I mean, I'm sure there will be a lot of people.
I have thought of that, and that's how the book and the CD came about. So that people can purchase it and do their own thing at home. Eventually, I do intend to have some kind of series where I train with people online and stuff like that. So let's see how things go.
Yeah, we'll all love to patronize it. So I think you should get that series started, and we'll definitely get into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other talents you have that we don't know about? Anything you love to do outside of music and fashion?
Acting.
Oh,
acting.
So you love being behind the camera.
I used to act in school.
No way.
I love acting, and I'm very good at acting.
Tell me about it.
Tell you about it. Also, I was part of the drama team in my school. Okay. And also the dancing group in my school.
A dancer too. Hey,
believe it or not, ballet.
What?
Ballet dancing. So
no way.
Yeah. So I've done some theatre stuff on some big stages in London, Sadler's Wells. I
think we need another book. The one you did is on vocals. We need another book based on just your experiences alone and all.
When I was actually leaving school, my drama teacher sat me down and said, "Listen, go into acting. I know you sing and I know you can dance, but acting is also your thing. Go into acting and promise me that you will do that."
When is the movie coming out?
Well, one of these days.
I think I need to talk to your manager. We need to get you some roles.
You should talk to him.
Yes, I will. I'll talk to your manager. No, but it's something you enjoy doing. Have you done anything outside of the theater?
No, I've done more theater stuff. I've done more theater stuff in school with my school. But on one-on-one personal stuff, I intend to, but I haven't done anything yet. But I intend to. I intend to, yeah.
I can't wait. That would be nice. I cannot wait. But aside acting, anything else? Because I feel like you're dropping them one at a time, right?
Well,
we have the singing, we have the fashion, acting. What else? Dancing. What else?
I don't know. Personal vocal coach.
Yes.
Vocal coaching. Inspirational speaker. I speak to people. I counsel people. I tend to counsel.
I guess like a life coach.
Yeah, like a life coach.
Okay.
So I tend to talk to people a lot when they share stuff with me. I tend to give them some advice and some tips on how they can go about stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I was going to let you off the hook, but my producer just reminded me that they told me in the beginning of the show that you were going to teach us one or two tips when it comes to vocal coaching. Okay. Yes. So, ready to take it away.
So when you stand behind the mic, breath control.
Yes.
So I can use you as...
Okay, great.
And just show the audience a little bit of a tip. Okay, so before you sing, anyway, you would have acquired a lot of air. And we sing from the diaphragm. by the way.
Yes.
We don't sing from the stomach or the chest. We sing from the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is right here. Okay. So you find that there's a lot of air already.
Okay.
But if I decide to bring out the air, my stomach will sink in. Yeah? So in order to have a better control over breath, because breath is what we use to sing.
That's right.
So in order to have a better control, you must be able to control your breath. Once you get that, you can do a great job.
Okay.
Okay. So if I decide to take out the air that's already in here, this is what's going to happen. Can you see my stomach going in?
Yes.
Okay, so just give me a s, then bring out the air. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. But without raising the shoulder. We don't need the shoulder.
So we need the shoulder.
When we're singing, we don't need the shoulder. We want to be as relaxed as we possibly can.
Okay.
So let's say you have your salary. You have 100 cedis for the month, and that's your salary. And you need to take out money for your groceries. You need to take out money for your petrol. You need to take out money for your expenses, whatever, and still save some. So you get a point in the picture that I'm trying to create. After you've brought out the air, you should still be able to have some
air inside of you.
So when you decide to bring out the air, you proportion it. So you control what you're going to give out, what you're going to give for your groceries, what you're going to give for your fuel, what you're going to give for your, your mom, and then what you're going to keep as your saving.
Okay.
So you distribute. You do your distributions with the air. And still keep maybe your 10% as your saving. Okay. So have that in mind when you're doing that. Good. So with that, I guarantee you, we can do 20 now. Count of 20, let's go. So I'll give you another tip. When you start, because you know you're going to be doing distributions and you're still going to save, what do you think is the best thing to do? Not to let all the air out at once. No, exactly, gradually. Okay, so if you start with a, you're going to run out. But if you start with maybe... You see, you can, as I'm talking to you, I've held it. It's still there. I haven't let it go. Do you understand? Okay. So that's exactly what you're going to do. So on the count of 20, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You've done well. You only did 16, but you did well. But you see, there's improvement. There's improvement. So if you keep that in mind, so long as you keep that in mind, you will be able to. And so what will happen is now, if you decide to sing with the same air and you decide to hold a note, you can hold it for as long as you want. The next time I'm going to do 60. You can hold it for as long as you want. I'm doing 60. So when you're singing, you apply the air. Yes, absolutely. And if you decide to hold a note, you use the same air technique to hold a note. Awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you learned something today. All right. Thank you so much, Anthea. We're going to go into our next segment called Quick 5, where I get to ask you 5 very random questions. Okay. You have 5 seconds for each question. Okay. And we'll be done. Sure. Yeah? You ready? I'm ready. Okay. Let's go into Quick 5.
This segment is brought to you by Lands Media Institute.
All right, it's time for Quick 5 with Anthea. Are you ready?
I hope so.
All right, let's go. Okay, if you could collab with anyone, who would it be?
Joe Metal.
Good. All right. Would you consider doing a collaboration with a secular artist?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because music is music. Music has no barrier. It has no language. As long as we're communicating something positive, it doesn't take away who I am. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. So I will do music.
Okay. What did you want to be when you were younger?
Fashion designer.
Fashion designer.
Even though I almost became a lawyer.
Oh.
My mother wanted me to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer. I studied law for 2 years and then it was too much reading.
Too much reading?
Yeah. So I ran away from it.
So that I don't know how my next question is going to go. What's your favorite book to read?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I hate reading.
Oh, boy. Okay. If you could do anything in a day, all day, what would it be?
Sleep.
Okay. And with that, we want to thank you, Anthea, for coming on Sizzles. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It was an awesome time with you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
So much.
So now in our next segment, we're going to go to the microphone, and Anthea is going to bless us with a beautiful, beautiful performance. Anthea, the stage is set for you.
Thank you.
It's Sizzles.